Okay everyone, so today's practice we're going to start in a standing position. So if we can all just find a place on our mat and just start to stand, start to draw energy out through the head and draw energy down through the feet. Just bringing yourself to your standing pose. And breathing, taking your focus in, taking your awareness to your breath. Start to notice what parts of the feet are connected with the floor. And breathing into your belly. With an awareness of the back space, all of the parts of your body that lie behind your eyes, and just start to breathe here with awareness of your 3D standing posture, shifting the weight forward to the toes, rocking back to the heels, shifting forward to toes, and back to heels, starting to find a circle through the feet. Just notice if they can stay soft and supportive, toes spreading, or whether they scrunch as you move your weight through time and space. And then we go the other way. Shifting the weight in a circular motion. And this might feel a little bit strange. And then we're just going to bring ourselves back to the center. Grounding through the feet, standing tall, and listening to your breathing. One more big breath here. Inhale, reach hands all the way up. This time taking hands into a pistol grip, hugging the ears with the inside of the biceps, the shoulders reaching towards the ears. And then we're just going to draw some small circles into the back. And then find that circle on the other direction. Last circle before we settle in our center. Drawing up through the midline, reaching your hands all the way up, reaching your feet all the way down, finding length through the spine, pressing the palms away, interlacing the fingers, gaze to the sky. Just taking a swaying palm tree, easing in to our lateral side stretches, lengthening in the hips and the sides of your body here. From here, we're just going to reach our hands all the way out to the side. Slowly draw your shoulders up, back and down, and breathing here in mountain pose. Taking yourself to the top of your mat, open heart, resting feet. Inhale, stand tall, reach your hands for the sky, soften in the knees, bending in the knees as you fold over the legs, prayer position, reaching the hands down to the ground. Sending your head to a nodding position and then shaking your head and then nodding. Settling for a moment here, just listening to your breathing. Inhale, send the head away from the legs. exhale, folding over the legs. Soften the knees if you need to. Stepping your right foot back here, high lunge. Breathing into this space. You can bend your knee if you need to, or keep it straight. Breathing here. Taking your hands up to a lift, drawing the shoulders back, and then reach your hands forward in front of you, fingertips reaching away from back heel. Big breath here. Chest glued to thighs, belly button drawing in towards the spine. Slowly pressing the hands down into the ground and dropping the back knee down. Taking your time here just to bring your weight forward. Breathing into this space. Pressing the hips down, but not sinking too far in your full range of motion. Imagine that we've got scissor legs here and there is still a connection between the inside thighs. Breathing here. Bringing the hands down to rest at the sides, opening in the shoulders. Inhale, reach hands towards the sky. Staying here for one more breath cycle, big reach. And exhale, float the hands down. Lovely. Just bringing your weight into the front foot. And then we're just going to slowly and gently shift the weight back and lift the toes towards the sky, finding half Hanuman. If this is tricky, you can always bring your blocks to the side of you and find your half Hanuman with some support through the blocks. Reaching your hands downwards into the ground or the blocks. Lifting here. Slowly and gently bringing the weight forward, back. And then we're just going to bring it back. So nice and slowly, just moving through actively to this front hip opener. Getting that stretch across the thigh. And then taking the weight back. Bringing your hip over the knee as you breathe here. Depending on how much of a stretch you want, you can either dig right into the ground with the front heel, or you can ease off by placing less weight through that front heel, reaching your sit bones to the back. And if you want to, you can bring your hands to heart center. Slowly and gently, maybe we can play with lifting off your front heel and carrying it around to the side. And slowly down to the knees. From here, we're just gonna step your left foot out to the side, right to the corner of your mat. And then from here, we're just gonna press the hips forward as we find our hip opener here, breathing into this space. One more cleansing breath in through the nose and out through the nose. If you would like to, you can bring your hands, your forearms down to the ground just to find an extra stretch here. Breathing for a moment. Lovely. One more big breath in this pose. Relaxing in your head, noticing your shoulders. Can we release here? Slowly and gently bringing yourself up back to the hands and just breathing into this space. From here, same hand as the foot that's in front is going to reach forward, up and away, and we're just going to find a small spinal twist. If you want to here, we can just take a little bit of a quad stretch here as you kick the hand away, keeping this stretch active. Breathing into this space. If this is challenging, you can always take a strap, unraveling the strap, and I'll just go back into that pose with the strap. So we take around the ankle joint, making a small lasso, and then as we're here, we can slowly draw the foot in using our strap. So choosing where you'd like to be today as you breathe in this pose. Slowly float the foot down and taking your hips back. Send the leg long and around, and then releasing and removing the strap. Take your time there, and then slowly lowering down in child's pose. Breathing here and reaching for a moment or two. Reach the hands as far away as possible, really finding length and active stretch through the shoulders, and then soften and settle and surrender to your child's pose. Relaxing in your child's pose for one more restorative breath cycle. Slowly and gently bringing your hands all the way back. This time taking your knees wide to the outer edges of your mat. Maybe bringing your fingertips to face the back of the room. And then slowly we're just going to lift the hips and the pelvis just to find a stretch across the top of the thighs. Breathing here. Lovely, one more breath. Slowly and gently lowering the pelvis down, bottom towards the heels. And then we're just going to take ourselves to our downward facing dog. Breathing in our down dog. Reaching our sit bones to the sky. Lovely. Stepping right foot in, followed by left. Inhale. Send the hands all the way back and root to rise, standing tall. Hands to heart center. Inhale, big reach up to the sky. And exhale, bringing the hands down. Roll the shoulders up, back and down at the top. And then we're just going to find that on the other side. So inhale, big reach. Exhale, fold over the legs. Hands through heart center. Sit bones reaching to the back of the room. Soft knees, heavy head. Inhale, reach head away from thighs, lengthening in the legs. And resting your hands on your shins if you need to. Softening down and stepping the left leg back this time as you breathe here. Pressing into the front foot, taking a deep breath, and remember that the blocks are there if you need them. Lifting in this pose. Reaching the hands to the front of the mat, pressing into your supporting legs and feet as you breathe in this pose, relaxing in the neck, relaxing in the shoulders. Slowly and gently floating the hands down to the ground and just dropping that back knee down towards the ground. Breathing in this pose. Taking the hands towards the thighs as you breathe in this pose. Taking the hips slightly higher so that we're not sinking in full range of motion. We're still active in this pose. Lovely. Pressing the hands into the ground and then slowly and gently taking yourself back to your half Hanuman. Finding your toes reaching for the ground, heel pressing into the ground, sit bones reaching away. And whilst you're here, think about drawing your belly button to kiss the spine and lengthening the back of your leg. Keeping this pose active, we're just going to play with shifting the weight forward, shifting the weight back, shifting the weight forward, shifting the weight back. One more of these. And shifting the weight back. From here, bringing your hands to heart center, seated nice and tall, and slowly seeing if we can lift off the front leg, sending it around to the side. If it drops to the floor, that's okay. And then we can bring our hands down, taking yourself to your wide-legged child's pose. Breathing into this space. Slowly bringing yourself up. And we're just going to take our deep thigh stretch here as we reach our pelvis up to the sky, squeezing in the glutes, breathing here. Slowly and gently lowering down. And bringing your hands to heart center. This time we're just going to press forward, tuck the toes under, and find our down dog. Stepping your right foot forward. Dropping the knee down, and we're just going to take our foot to the edges of our mat and then slowly and gently dropping down here. Breathing into this hip opener. Notice if we're holding any tension in the shoulders and can we relax here. One more breath cycle here. bringing your hands back, supporting your front foot. Same hand as the leg that's out in front is going to reach forward, up and away, finding your spinal twist, and then taking hold of the back of the foot, kicking the hand away. Again, if you want to use a strap on this side, take your time to get safely into this pose and use the strap to bring and draw your foot in towards the pelvis. Breathing here. Breathing into the quad stretch, and you can make this as intense or as light of a stretch as you need, and then slowly and gently take your time to lower the foot back down, pressing into the mat with the hands. Step your front foot up, back and away to your all fours position. Breathing here. This time we're going to go into a malasana, so a deep squat, and we're going to slowly step your right leg to the outside of your right hand, left foot to the outside of the left hand, and then sinking down in your squat pose. Just bringing your hands to heart center here as you breathe. If this squat pose is a little bit challenging, you have 2 blocks here, and you can just take a seat into your malasana pose. Take your time here just to breathe, lengthening through the spine. So you can decide what it is that you need as you find your malasana deep squat pose, breathing into this space. Lovely. Hands press into the ground, and then from here we're at the top of our mat. We're still in our squat pose. We're just going to lift the hips slightly, press into the hands, and step one foot back, followed by the other, and slowly lower down either knees, chest and chin, or you can lower through a full chaturanga, lowering through press up as you breathe here, sliding your weight back so that your forearms are onto the ground. We'll just take a little Sphinx pose just for a moment to breathe here. Drawing the shoulder blades down in the back. And then slowly bringing your forehead down towards the ground, drawing your right heel in towards the buttocks, taking hold of the back of the ankle joint, and just reaching the opposite hand away. Lengthening through the spine. Lovely. From here, we're just going to do a half bow pose. So from here, we're just going to lift up to Sphinx pose here, finding a bit of opening in the back as you breathe into this space. Then slowly and gently draw back down, breathing here, and release. Taking your time to find this stretch on the other side, the other leg. As you reach opposite hand away, pressing your hips into the ground and lifting slightly in the back knee. Lovely. bringing yourself up slightly, just to a half bow pose, opening across the chest. And then slowly and gently lowering yourself down, releasing in the heat and reaching the opposite hands away from the feet here as you breathe. Slowly bringing yourself up to Sphinx pose, and then we're just going to do a scorpion on one leg, like a scorpion tail, just finding the spiral in the back, dipping the toe down and bringing it back to center. Find this on the other side and back to center. Lovely. Just taking a moment to rest here, dropping your head down towards the ground. Two more cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more breath here, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Lovely. Slowly and gently releasing the head. And we're just going to start to prepare for bow pose. So taking hold of each ankle joint. Really thinking about bringing the knees together here. Rolling the shoulders up, back and down. So there's a squeeze in the back of the shoulder blades. Long spine. On your next inhale, we're going to lift the head and the thighs away from the ground. Reaching head away from the tailbone as we find our bow pose. Inhale to lift. And just breathing through this bow pose. Drawing the knees towards each other so that they're not flaring out too much past your hips. Two more breaths. Last one. And slowly and gently lowering down, releasing your feet, taking your time here. As you breathe, just maybe give your hips a wiggle into the floor. And then we're just going to shift the weight back to your all fours pose, breathing here. Lovely. Pressing your hands into the ground, taking a down dog here, and then we're just going to take a walk all the way in towards the top of your mat. Folding over the legs. You can bend your knees if you need to. Just breathing here. Maybe taking your hands to a ragdoll pose, taking hold of each elbow joint as you lengthen and drop heavy head down to the ground. Lovely. Softening in the knees, sending the hands back. Root to rise as you inhale to stand tall, pressing through the feet. Lengthening in the spine, hands to heart center. Breathing here for a moment. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, float the hands down. Lovely. Into our second flow sequence now. Deep inhale to stand tall. Exhale, folding over the legs.
dropping over the legs, lengthening through if that's available to you. Inhale, reaching your hands away, either placing them on your shins or down to the ground. Long neutral spine, belly button drawing in towards the spine. Exhale, float the head down. Shaking your head no, and then just finding some stillness. Softening the knees if you need to. And then we're just going to step your right leg back to a high lunge here, keeping the hips high this time. Breathing here for a moment, and then we're just going to slowly and gently draw your hands towards your thighs, keeping the hips square as you stand in your high lunge. Inhale, reach the hands high, hands to heart center. Drawing the hands all the way to the heart. Inhale, reach hands to prayer. And exhale, hands to heart center. Finding your cactus. Inhale, standing tall. Rotate around. Finding yourself in your warrior two. And then we're just going to turn the toes to the side, reaching up to the ceiling. And float down into your Skandasana. Breathing here. Maybe you might have a lift in the heel in Skandasana. We're just going to think about bringing our weight more to the center as we open in our hips. Breathing here, maybe bringing your hands to heart center and thinking about the line through the spine from head to tailbone. Just taking your time here to really connect with your breathing, opening in the hips. Lovely. One more big breath here. And then slowly and gently just taking yourself over to Skandasana on the other side, settling into this pose and breathing here. We want to avoid our knee falling inwards, so really think about sending that knee out and open in the hip joint as you breathe here. Two more breaths. Lovely. And then bringing yourself back nice and slowly and gently to your high lunge pose. Taking a little moment maybe to twist around the corner. You can fall onto the knife edge of your foot. Find an extra stretch here, and then slowly and gently back to our high lunge, lifting in the hips, step your feet in, inhale, reaching the hands back, and root to rise, standing tall. Hands to heart center. Breathing here for a moment or two. And again for another breath. Lovely. Inhale, reach the hands up and away. And exhale, float down. Taking your feet to hip width apart. And then we're just going to move through that flow again. Inhale, big reach to the sky. Lengthen through the spine, finding the fold at the hip joints as you lower down slowly and gently. Enjoy the view on the way down. Lengthening the backs of the legs if that's available to you and it feels right in this moment. Inhale, reaching the head, long spine, finding your reach forward, hands to shins. Slowly and gently soften, and then stepping your left leg back to your high lunge position here, breathing into the space, pressing into the front foot, drawing your hands towards the thighs as you breathe in this pose. Allowing the hands to fall heavy by the sides. Inhale, stand tall. Hands to prayer. And exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, hands to prayer. And exhale, heart center. Finding the rotation to warrior two. As you breathe here, dropping that back heel down. And then whenever we're ready, we're just going to readjust our feet slightly so that we can rotate our toes to face the ceiling and sink down into our Skandasana. Finding this pose here as you breathe to open in the hips. Hands can draw to heart center, listening to your breath. Slowly and gently shifting your weight over, and you can choose, maybe you might not want to put your hands down there as you breathe in your Skandasana. Shifting the weight back, either using the hands or not, depending on what you need. Framing the front foot with the hands and then twisting round to face the back heel as you drop the back foot to the knife edge of the foot. Finding this lovely deep stretch down the side of the leg, down the IT band as you breathe here. Bring yourself back to center. And then slowly and gently, just bringing this front foot, high lunge here, as you breathe here. Hands to thighs. Breathing into this space. Inhale, scoop. And exhale, press down. This time we're just going to step your front foot back to your high plank, and then gently and softly lower the knees down, crossing in the ankle joints, and then just shifting your weight back nice and slowly and gently, sending your feet up and away here as you breathe, sitting in staff pose. Lovely. From here, big inhale to reach high. And exhale, reach over the legs to find your forward fold. Relaxing here for a few breath cycles, just taking your time to listen to your breath. Surrender to the depth of the pose. How can we relax in this pose? Lovely. Slowly drawing yourself up. And then we're just going to take our cobbler's pose. So we'll sit in cobbler's pose for a moment, allowing the feet to roll open and outwards, allowing the hip sockets to release, and allowing the joints to roll outwards. We're all built really differently, so our pelvises will be different. But we're just going to see if we can ground through the sit bones
and allow our knees to fall outwards here. And maybe if you want to, you could apply some active pressure here just to open in the hips. Breathing in your cobbler's pose. Taking yourself to seated. And we're just going to move through a seated cat-cow, so rounding and lengthening. And rounding and lengthen. Exhale to round. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to round. And inhale to lengthen. Bringing yourself back to center. Just gonna take half a wide-legged straddle here. Inhale, big reach up. And towards the direction of the leg that's long, just taking a sideways stretch, thinking about rolling the top shoulder open. So we're refraining from falling forward with the front shoulder, and we're really thinking about actively reaching to the side space as you breathe here. Gaze down to the floor, or take the gaze up to peer underneath the armpit, rolling up, back and down. Inhale, finding length as you sit tall here. Just placing your hands into the ground, and then from here we're just going to inhale, push the hips forward slightly, and exhale, lower, keeping that small there. Taking now big steps so that we switch hands, dropping the sole of your foot here and really thinking about how you can open in the hip joint. Big inhale, find a back bend, reaching towards the back of the room, and exhale, slowly lower. One more of these, nice and big. Inhale, reach to the back of the room, and exhale, lower down. Lovely. And then nice and gently, we're just going to find that on the other side. So taking your time here, finding your sit bones on the ground. Inhale, big reach over towards the long leg. Take a deep breath here. And you can use your hand on the foot to apply pressure to rotate, finding a stretch down the side of your hip as you relax here. Either taking your gaze down to the ground or maybe peering underneath the armpit as you reach here. Lovely. Standing tall, finding your sit bones, and then we're just going to slowly and gently take yourself up, press the hips forward slightly, and slowly lower down. Stepping out to the side, big inhale as you reach all the way up, and drawing yourself back and down. One more inhale up, and exhale, float down. Lovely. Just sending that heel out and away, finding a comfortable seated straddle position. You can take your legs as wide or as shallow as they need to be as you breathe into this space. Inhale, big reach. Exhale, open. One more of these. Inhale to reach. And exhale, open. This time finding a twist towards your right side. Inhale, reach. And find the twist. Maybe taking hold of the outside of the thigh and using that as a lever to twist. And then back to center. Inhale. And find the twist on the other side. Just noticing how much of a twist we have here as we breathe and bring our hands back to center. Lovely. From here, maybe just shift your torso from side to side, taking a few sways, and then back to center. Maybe just nice and gently finding a little bit of movement in the torso, circular motion one way, and then easing into the hips again, finding the circular motion the other way. Lovely. And as we draw and bring ourselves back, we're going to inhale all the way up and maybe find our flat pancake here as we reach forward, floating the hands down to the ground, chin dropping to the chest as you breathe here. So wherever we land today is where we're meant to be. So we may just take our focus and our gaze here, and that's absolutely fine. Or we may drop right down, forehead to the ground, breathing into this space. Slowly and gently bringing yourself all the way up to a comfortable seated position. Let's do that again one more time. Big inhale. And finding your forward fold. Reaching wherever we land is where we're meant to be. Surrendering here. Letting go of any desire to be any further as we just breathe into this space. Lovely. Slowly drawing yourself back to center. To find your sit bones rotating, allowing your hips to externally rotate, and then just drawing the legs together, breathing here as you bring them back in, and just take your nose towards your knees, relaxing over the legs. And slowly up. We're just going to go into a lovely one for the quads now. So we're going to take our back knee bent, but we're not going to think about being directly on top of the knee. We have our foot, our heel of the foot to the outside of the hip so that we can drop down onto the sit bones. Really refraining from any pressure in the knee. If there are any knee issues, really do take it easy and maybe don't do this pose. Your front foot is just going to stack across, and I'll swivel round for you here. In fact, I'll swivel the other way. And from here, we're just going to bring ourselves down slowly and safely, either to the forearms, or if we want to, we can lie down in this pose. Just breathing into this stretch. And then slowly we're just going to fold in around to one side, releasing the feet, and then bring ourselves up. This time taking the pose on the other side. So taking the other leg back, sole of the foot facing upwards, foot to the outer side of the hip, crossing over the other leg so that you can allow this knee to fall heavy and drop down, and then slowly and gently easing into this stretch,
really take your time here to breathe. And then slowly we're just going to melt down to the back as you breathe in this pose. Just listening to your breath, bringing your awareness to your breath so that we can focus on our breath alone and allow any external noises or distractions just to melt away. Lovely. One more big breath here. Slowly bringing yourself over to the side, releasing the feet. And then we're just going to bring yourself back onto your knees and stepping your feet to constructive rests as you bring your heels in close towards your buttocks. And then you're just going to step your right leg over, opening in the knee joint here. Bring your hands out to the side of the body. And just taking a little deep breath here. Allowing the sole of the foot to fall to the ground and using that pressure, the heel connected with the top of the thigh, the knee, just above the knee with the thigh. And then we're opening this top knee. So we're really thinking about how you open in the hip to breathe into this stretch. Breathe to fill the belly with air and then slowly release to deflate in the belly. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Drawing your feet all the way back here. Slowly bringing yourself to a reclined pigeon pose or a reclined figure four as you breathe here. Knee draws towards the chest. Tailbone reaches down to the ground. One more big breath here. Slowly release the fingertips, floating the foot down. And then we're just going to take the outer edge of the foot and slowly and gently just allow the opposite knee to fall away and just finding your half happy baby pose as you breathe into this pose. Small hip opener. And then just drawing that foot back, maybe squeezing it back to your all fours pose, opening in the hip and then floating down. We're just going to find all of that on the other side. So reaching the hands open, open heart. Allow the knee to open as your hip externally rotates. Sole of the foot falling to the floor, and then just looking in the opposite direction towards the direction of your hand that's resting at the side. Deep breaths in this pose. Two more full breaths. Slowly and gently release, bringing yourself back here, allowing the knee to fall open.
taking reclined figure 4 or reclined pigeon as you breathe into this space, reaching the tailbone down towards the ground, drawing knee towards the chest, easy neck and shoulders. Slowly floating the foot back down, taking hold of the outside of the top foot as you find your happy baby, drawing the knee in towards the armpit and allowing the other knee to fall open. One more breath here, sole of the foot reaching towards the sky. Slowly and gently drawing yourself back, feet to constructive rest. And we'll just bring our hands underneath the pelvis, just for a little moment as we let our knees sway, small motion from side to side. And then releasing the hands, dropping the pelvis down. And we're just going to bring ourselves round to one side and slowly up, nice and gentle. Just got 2 more poses here. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to find our final quad stretch so that we can bring ourselves to bridge position first, stepping that foot underneath and slowly dropping one knee down, breathing in this pose. One more big breath here. And take your time to come out of that pose, releasing the foot and sitting back down. And then we can do the same. So step the foot in, rolling over, dropping the knee down. And here we can just breathe into this pose. Breathe into that stretch, lifting in this hip, just to get an extra stretch down the front of the thigh as you breathe here. Slowly and gently bringing your front foot back, and then now we're just going to reach forward, find your sit bones, and then slowly and gently rolling down using the abdominals as we lie on our back. Taking a moment here before we go into our full happy baby pose. Drawing the knees in towards the chest, taking hold of the outer edges of the feet, drawing your chin towards the knees, rounding in the spine, and then allowing your knees to move past, drawing towards the armpits. And as you breathe here, just sinking the head down, back at the head to the ground, opening in the hips, releasing any tension that might be there around the pelvis, dropping the tailbone down. And we're just going to rock this out from side to side, nice and gently, taking it easy in our happy baby pose. Slowly and gently, just taking a moment here to be still. Drawing the soles of the feet, the toes to touch, bringing the knees together, and then bringing the feet down towards the ground. Squeeze the knees together as tight as you can, and then allow your knees to fall and roll outwards, soles of the feet touching. Taking hold of each elbow joint above the head, or maybe you might like to cactus the arms at this stage. Choose what you need for this final moment of class. Taking a little moment to thank yourself for showing up on the mat today. And then reaching for a thankful thought and feeling. Could be really simple. Just reaching for some gratitude. Maybe it's that we have clean running water. Maybe it's for nature. Simple, thankful thoughts and feelings of gratitude. Whenever you're ready, reaching the soles of the feet to the outer edges of the mat, drawing your hands down by your side, and slowly and gently just breathing into this space. And slowly and gently just taking yourself over to one side. And then nice and gently bringing yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Hands open, palms receiving love, good energy. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. And exhale to release. Thank you very much for joining me for this practice. Namaste.